everybody, and today we'll be playing Demir Mill on Mad Meta Magic, where we attempt to make the magic meta mad. I caved. I'm going to play a version with Drown in the Loch. I don't like it, but we'll try it. So this version seems like a little bit less all-in mill than other lists that I've seen, because of the Fatal Pushes and Blood Chief's Thirst, as well as the Drown in the Lochs in the main. I have no idea how this is going to do, but this, I believe, was a recent 5.0 list. Yes, this was a recent 5.0 list. This is almost budget tier. This current list running at about $130 on Moto right now to buy this exact list. We're going to go ahead and take this into a constructed league and hopefully do well with it. Alright, round one. Here we go. Alright, we'll play first. Double Archive Trap is probably too good to pass up. If this is an aggressive deck that starts fetch land, they're going to be real sad because we have Crypt Incursion as well as like Surgical and Blood Chief's Thirst. Okay, opponent did mulligan to 6. We'll start Flooded Strand. So I know we want to kind of hold on to fetch lands for all of our crabs and stuff. I don't need to crack this for any reason. Okay, opponent starts Wooded Foothills. I'm not going to crack my fetch land. I'm going to wait. Okay, we draw a Glimpse the Unthinkable. So play a Swamp. Fetch with Flooded Strand. We'll get an island. And Glimpse the Unthinkable. Mill our opponent for 10. And it's mono red. Alright. So opponent fetches. I'm going to Surgical Lightning Bolt right now. Okay, they're not holding any. They're holding 3 Eidolons of the Great Revel, a Lightning Helix, and a Searing Blaze. Okay, so opponent gets to search their deck for a Sacred Foundry tapped. We're going to double Archive Trap them, pass the turn. That's pretty good. Alright, my opponent has not that many creatures in the grave, it looks like. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures in the grave. Okay, we draw a Fatal Push. I'm going to Blood Chief's Thirst here. Kind of want to limit, or we want to increase the number of creatures in grave here because we're main decking a Crypt Incursion. Goblin Guide hopefully draws us a land. That would be very good here. When it plays an Eidolon, gets in with the Goblin Guide, we reveal Glimpse the Unthinkable. Oof. So we know they have a Lightning Helix in hand. If we play Glimpse the Unthinkable, we go to 11. They hit us for 4. They can Lightning Helix for 3 more, but I think they're just dead. Yeah. Like, we gotta do this, I think. So they have to kill us this turn. I mean, it's possible. Opponent starts by attacking for 4. They have no cards left in their deck. We reveal a Drown in the Loch. We go to 7. So, Bolt, Boros Charm does it. Eidolon does not. Okay, we untap and draw Drown in the Loch. Pass the turn. So they have to kill us on their upkeep? Nope. We milled them out. Nice. So, versus aggro. I think we want Profane Memento. We don't really want Ashiok because it exiles their grave. Probably want Ensnaring Bridge because we can empty our hand pretty quickly. The question is, what do we cut in this matchup? Echoing Truth is kind of nice with Surgical Extraction because it kind of combos. But I don't think that's what we want to be doing. I think I'm going to drop 1 Surgical, maybe even both. We don't have Hand Hate, so Surgical is a little bit worse because we can't like see what's going on unless we have multiple in hand, and I don't really want to be paying the Phyrexian mana for it. I think we keep all of the removal. I guess I cut a Maddening Cacophony. We'll try it like that. Okay. Okay, we got a crab. Got a fetch land. We got 2 fetch lands. We got a Crypt Incursion and a Maddening Cacophony, Mesmeric Orb. I think this is completely fine. Hopefully, Crypt Incursion. I think my opponent sided in all of their sideboard. Okay, they revealed Drown in the Loch on top. So start Flooded Strand, crack for a basic island. Play the crab. Pass the turn. Crab can actually block guides, so it's probably going to eat a bolt here, which I think is fine if that happens. On a Shock Sacred Foundry, plays a Swift Spear, Lava Spikes our face, attacks, Hedron Crab on top. Oh boy. Alright, Ruin Crab survives, which is actually amazing. Play Hedron Crab, play Polluted Delta. So, save targets, always yield. Always yield. And I think I'm just gonna fetch up a Watery Grave tapped. Okay, mill our opponent for a lot more. Pass the turn. We're really hoping to draw land next turn. We have 2 looks at it with this Goblin Guide attacking. When it plays an Inspiring Vantage, Lava Spike. Okay, Prowess trigger. I go to combat. Attack, attack. Alright, my opponent, last 2 cards could be bolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to block here, and I'm going to block here. Yes. Okay. Don't quite want to go shields down. They're thinking about playing something else. Lightning Helix our face. Okay. We untap, we draw Glimpse the Unthinkable. They currently have only 2 creatures in the grave? Wow. So, play Swamp, mill our opponent. Didn't mill any creatures. They really only have 2 creatures in the grave. Do we need to Crypt Incursion here? We could, I guess, hold up Drown in the Loch and Visions of Beyond. We would still die to 2/3 damage burn spells, I think. They do have Skullcrack effects, so maybe we just go ahead and gain the 6 now. We block Guide, we can kill Swift Spear with Drown in the Loch, but if they have 2/3 damage burn spells, yeah, I think we gotta go with the Crypt Incursion now, and I'm not thrilled about it. This just makes us slightly harder to kill. Still really hoping to hit a land. Okay, opponent attacks, we draw land, perfect. So we block, take 1. Alright. We draw Mesmeric Orb, play a Swamp, mill our opponent for 3. So, Visions of Beyond as an Ancestral Recall. Bloodchief's Thirst, I'm going to kill Swift Spear. And then I'm just going to pass the turn and hold up Drown in the Loch. Basically, any 2 CMC spell they cast here, I would counter with Drown in the Loch. Maybe we just use it to kill Goblin Guide? I guess that's fair. Yeah, I'm going to use it to kill Goblin Guide. We untap. Draw a fetch land, which is quite nice. So play a fetch land, mill our opponent for 3. How many cards do they have left in deck? 36? We're 1 mana off of kicking Maddening Cacophony, though I don't think that matters. Let's go ahead and Glimpse and cast Cacophony. Pass the turn. They're hard casting a Skewer the Critics, so we're going to get a Watery Grave tapped. Mill them for 3 more. They have 14 cards left in their deck. If we draw a land, they die. Oh, they played a tap land. So we can play Mesmeric Orb, and they mill 8. Yeah, I think this will get them. So they untap, they mill a lot. And those main deck Crypt Incursions really help in the burn matchup. Opponent Lava Spikes. Smash to Smithereens. Oh my gosh, we're at 3? We're not dead? We mill Visions of Beyond, Hedron Crab, Ruin Crab, and Ruin Crab. Draw Fatal Push. Mill our opponent for 8. Pass the turn. They're going to kill us on their upkeep. They don't have it. Alright. Well, we got round 1 versus Burn. That's kind of nice. I'll see you guys in round 2. That was pretty quick, actually. Alright. Round 2. Here we go. I think this is good. We'll keep this. Opponent starts Forest Utopia Sprawl on red. So, looks like Ponza. Play an island, play a crab, pass the turn. I probably should have just played a fetch land, but I guess it depends on whether or not I'm getting stone rained here. When it plays a stomping ground, untapped, pillage. Alright. So, play polluted delta, mill our opponent, pass the turn. In case they have multiple pillages, I'm going to hide our other landfall trigger. This does open it up to them killing the crab, though. But like if this is a blood braid and they hit a pillage, they don't really have any good targets. They hit a Utopia Sprawl. Okay. They can attack us for 3 here. I wonder if I should be playing around Blood Moon. Probably. So they hit us for 3, we go to 17. I could have fetched for a basic swamp, I guess. I'm still going to. Yeah, I technically could have prevented 3 damage there. My bad. So, push the Blood Braid. That was technically a mistake. Well, alright. Flooded Strand, mill our opponent. Fetch with Flooded Strand, mill our opponent. And glimpse the unthinkable, mill our opponent. Pass the turn. Opponent down to 26 cards in library. They play a forest. They play an Arbor Elf. Arbor Elf not really doing too much here. They can get 2 tokens off of a Pyromancer out of the grave. They stomp our face with Bone Crusher Giant. I guess that lets them cast Bone Crusher Giant with their last floating mana. Okay, they play Utopia Sprawl, naming red. Then they can cast Bone Crusher Giant, sure. We untap, draw Fatal Push, play Crab, play Polluted Delta, mill our opponent for 6, save targets, always yield, fetch. We'll get an island, mill our opponent for 6 again, and I guess we Fatal Push the Giant. We take 2, but this makes most of their top decks bad. They can't swing in with Arbor Elf, and we're going to follow this up with, I think, enough mill to kill them. Yeah, just playing Field of Ruin and casting Maddening Cacophony is enough. Opponent plays a Scavenging Ooze. We untap. Ooh, Crabtron! Crabtron Assemble. Alright. So, let's see, versus Ponza. So Ponza, or Gruul Midrange, or whatever you want to call it. I should be able to find a recent list for it. Okay, Gruul Midrange. Out of the sideboard, they run Boil. Really, that's it. They've got some artifact and enchantment removal and such. I might want Ashiok and like some extirpates. Maybe not on the extirpates. We'll want Ashiok though. I'll bring in Ashiok over a Maddening Cacophony. They run so much artifact destruction that I don't think I want Ensnaring Bridge. I could want Profane Memento here. That's a consideration. I think I'm going to just bring in Ashiok. We're going to try it like this and see what happens. Alright, we're on the draw. Double Archive Trap, Ruin Crab, double Glimpse, no fetch lands. I'm going to try keeping this. Double Archive Trap start is pretty strong. Ponza is a deck that frequently can play around playing a fetch land, though they almost universally start with a fetch land. So, okay. Already this was a good keep. They start Utopia, or they start Arbor Elf after Forest. We're gonna Archive Trap them, and we're gonna Archive Trap them. Nice. It looks like we got a lot of their threats. Okay, we draw Visions of Beyond, which I'm actually gonna cast right now. Because if they play Stomping Ground and have a pillage, I want another blue source. Alright, none of those are blue sources, but we're back up to 7 cards, which is pretty sweet. Alright, there's a Stomping Ground, untapped. Utopia Sprawl, so opponent will have 4 mana here. They do pillage our only island. See, I knew that was a good plan. I knew it. We untap, we draw a Hedron Crab, so play a Swamp, Blood Chief's Thirst, we're going to cut him off of 2 mana. But it only has 2 cards left in hand, which is pretty good. We do have a Mesmeric Orb, we still want to draw a green, or a blue source though, I mean. I don't know why I said green. Okay, we draw Visions of Beyond. Play Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent mills Lightning Bolt and a Windswept Heath. 3 mana, they pillage Mesmeric Orb. Alright, that's better than a land for us. Field of Ruin is just a mountain. Pass the turn. We do need to draw a basic island. From what I remember, this list actually runs quite a number of them. They pillage a swamp. Opponent kept the mono land destruction hand. Alright, Fatal Push could be okay. Opponent only has 20 cards left. 4 mana, they cast a Bloodbraid Elf into a Seasoned Pyromancer. If we draw a blue source, they're basically dead. Opponent casts a Seasoned Pyromancer, they discard... What do they discard? Bone Crusher Giant, okay. Get a Bloodbraid Elf. They go to combat, they attack us for 3. Kind of just want to Fatal Push that Elemental token. I don't know if it's going to matter. But we're not activating a fetch land anytime soon, so it's not like we're going to be able to push anything larger. Okay, untap. Draw a Drown in the Loch, which we can't cast. Pass the turn. Need to draw a blue source in the next... I think next turn, if they play any other threat. So they hit us for 5. We untap. Pass the turn. Even with the additional draws, we did not get to a second island. Had we drawn another island, this game would already be over. Because, I mean, even if they had pillaged the island, we still probably could have landed a crab, which would have milled our opponent for another 6. I guess maybe we didn't need to draw more. So they hit us for 7, we go to 5. But now it would appear to be too late. We play Klothys, play Arbor Elf. If we draw Mesmeric Orb, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's not enough. Draw Fatal Push. That was way closer than it looked. Alright. Well, yeah, I don't really think we want any of this. I think we're just going to run it back. We'll play first. Crabtron in hand. Crabtron Plus? Yeah, definitely keeping. Would like to draw a fetch land here. Start Island Crab. Oh, if we could just draw a single fetch land, this hand would be beyond amazing. Okay, opponent starts Forest. Utopia Sprawl. Okay. Even another island would be really fantastic. We draw Visions of Beyond, play Hedron Crab, play a Swamp. Mill our opponent for 6. Save targets, always yield. Always yield. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Forest, so no pillage. Opponent plays a Blood Moon. Okay. We untap. Draw a Crypt Incursion. We've got a Visions to try and hit a land. Oh, why can't I hold all these crabs? Oh no. Crabtron has failed us? Impossible. Nothing is mightier than the crabs. Opponent, Bloodbraid Elf. Hits the Scavenging Ooze. Please let me draw land. Our crabs will blot out the sun. If only we hit lands. Opponent attacks us for 3. We go to 17. Honestly, if we just top deck mono lands, doesn't even matter what color they are at this point. A couple redundant islands or swamps would be fantastic. Oh my god, so many crabs. Play Ruin Crab. Oh, pass the turn. Up until this point, I did not think it possible to draw too many crabs. Another Bloodbraid. Into a Flame Slash. No, not my crabs! They kill a Ruin Crab. They're going to attack us for 8. 9, actually. We want to draw an island. If we draw an island, we can play a crab, then mill them for 9, then play another crab. Okay, we're not going to block because they could just eat a creature and kill the crab. Okay, we go to 9. Opponent plays an Arbor Elf. We untap. Draw an Archive Trap, which is way, way too late. Yeah, we basically need a land this turn. Like, right now. And we have exactly 1 draw to get it. That sort of works. We're going to lose our crabs, though. We have to hope our opponent mills a lot of creatures. Alright, pass the turn. I don't think they search their library for anything ever without fetch lands, so... Pass the turn. Best draw would be an island off the top. Provided, of course, we're not dead. Okay, opponent attacks. We do have to block. If they have a bolt, we have to double block to survive. 1, 2, 3. They only have 3 creatures in the grave? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I guess. Block here. We're going to make them have a bolt. They have 2 in the grave, so it's not immediately likely that they have 3 damage to face. It's only probable. Okay, opponent plays a land. Passes. Island off the top is best draw. Does not do it. Alright, pass the turn. We're going to wait until our opponent starts eating creatures. No attacks. Opponent's going to eat a crab. Sure. They're going to eat the other crab. So we Crypt Incursion them now. They can untap a forest and eat one of their own creatures out of their grave. Actually, they can untap a forest and just activate Seasoned Pyromancer. They eat Seasoned Pyromancer. We only gain 6 life. Yeah, this game's over. That's really disappointing. The game where we drew the most crabs I've ever drawn, we just didn't draw lands. And we didn't mill enough of our opponent's creatures to have a real impact. Another Bloodbraid. Alright, alright. You get us, Ponza. The eternal enemy. What? Magic Online has encountered a problem. Okay, well. Alright, well that was weird. But I'll see you guys in round 3. Alright, round 3. I would love to play first. We can do better than that. Alright. Opponent is a Yorion deck. They also mulligan to 6. Yeah, we're gonna need a... Alright. I guess... I'm gonna put back 2 basic islands, I think. Start Watery Grave tapped. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent starts Forest, Birds. So Yorion decks are a little bit harder to beat. Play a Swamp. Do we cast Maddening Cacophony? It can't be right to try and wait to full price that. I don't think it ever will. Pass the turn. Well, we milled Soulherder and Stonehorn Dignitary. Okay. Opponent plays a Hollowed Fountain untapped and passes. We draw Visions of Beyond. Play Field of Ruin. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to flash in an Ice Fang Quaddle. Okay. They draw a card. They're going to Ephemerate. Alright, in response, crack Field of Ruin. Get an island. We're going to Archive Trap them. And Visions of Beyond to reload our hand. We've milled Kiki Jiki. This opponent flickers Ice Fang, draws a card. They were thinking about, I think, casting probably a second Ephemerate or maybe a Path. Okay, the Ephemerate Ice Fang again to draw an additional card. Play a Forest. 3 mana, Eternal Witness. They pick up probably Ephemerate. I imagine, Restoration. So that way they can resto Eternal Witness, and then we get a Flooded Strand. Play a Flooded Strand, play Mesmeric Orb. You know what the worst part is? It's not even like Kiki Pestermite combo, which hilariously Mesmeric Orb would mill our opponent if they did. It's gonna be Kiki Resto. Alright, opponent plays a Wooded Foothills. Gets in for 3, sure. We untap, we get milled for 2, milling Ruin Crab, Surgical, and we draw another Mesmeric Orb. Play Polluted Delta. Play Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. So I think what my opponent can do here is they can flash in Restoration Angel, blink Eternal Witness, get back Kiki Jiki, and if they draw or have another red source in hand, they just win. And there's nothing we can do about that because unfortunately we milled Surgical Extraction, we did not draw it. So they pick up Kiki Jiki. They fetch with Wooded Foothills. So unless they somehow mill the rest of their red sources, which they are milling for 10, but I think they still have one. We milled a whole bunch of fetch lands and Magus for the moon. Magus of the Moon. They play Windswept Heath, they crack it, and they have a Sacred Foundry. Alright. So. I have no idea what to sideboard against this deck. I guess Extirpates and like Ashiok. Cut like a Maddening Cacophony. Maybe I don't want the Extirpates. I think I just want Ashiok. Bridge almost certainly does nothing here because my opponent is going to bring in artifact removal. And they're going to have like Knight of Autumns and stuff. And they're going to have Chord of Calling and Aladmarie's Call to go and get it. While it could technically delay my opponent, I just don't think it's worth it. Echoing Truth could buy us a turn versus Kiki combo. Because they can't target a Restoration Angel with Restoration Angel to blink it. And even if they just make infinite restos in response, they just all get bounced. So I guess maybe we want Echoing Truth here. I'm gonna try that instead of a Bloodchief's Thirst. Yeah, we'll do 1. I think we just want a ton of crabs and a ton of fetch lands, and then incidentally to draw stuff that interacts with our opponent. We could probably do better. I don't know that this is better. My opponent kept 7. His hand is just so action light. I'm gonna go to 5. I only sort of regret this, so we'll keep. I guess I've got to put back Visions of Beyond and Surgical. Start Crab. Pass the turn. Would really like a fetch land. I guess, or any land at this point. Any land other than Field of Ruin. But any land would be fine. Okay, opponent starts Breeding Pool tapped. Draw an island. Play an island. Mill our opponent. Save targets. Always yield. Pass the turn. We're going to leave up Drown in the lock. Opponent plays a Birds of Paradise. They have Path and Ephemerate mana represented. Do we kill a Birds? I guess not without seeing what we draw. Alright, we draw Echoing Truth. Field of Ruin. Mill our opponent. Pass the turn. Leave up Drown in the lock. Opponent plays a Stomping Ground untapped. Magus of the Moon. Yeah, I guess I'm going to counter that. I'm not really sure what else I could do. Only way we're going to win this is if we somehow get 20 cards in our opponent's grave and then, like, just Visions of Beyond chain into victory. Mill our opponent for 8. Pass the turn. So we milled Kiki Jiki. No attacks. Not sending a message this game. If we draw Visions of Beyond, we could crack Field of Ruin, Visions of Beyond, hit them with any archive traps we draw, and hopefully draw a fetch land. Okay, opponent plays a Coiling Oracle. The Temple Garden. Untapped. That's scary. It's like a Renegade Rallier, maybe. Another Coiling Oracle into an Arid Mesa. You know what I'm really, really glad looking at this kind of line and the stuff that's in my opponent's grave, I'm super, super glad that Birthing Pod is not modern legal. I'm really, really happy it's still banned. Because I can only imagine how degenerate a Yorion deck with Birthing Pod could actually be. I imagine it's pretty degenerate. Also, what am I going to do? Echoing Truth Coiling Oracles? I want to put Yorion in their hand. We untap. There's a Visions. So we're going to hit their red mana. Get an island. Mill them for 6. Visions of Beyond. Play an island. Mill them for 6. Pass the turn. No attacks. Opponent down to 37 cards in library, so we're a little over halfway there. Opponent plays a Soul Herder. It's pretty good, I guess. You can constantly flicker a Coiling Oracle. So they flicker Coiling Oracle, put a 1/1 counter on Soul Herder, and they get a Wooded Foothills. They crack Wooded Foothills now. We basically need to like draw Visions of Beyond like every turn. They get a Sacred Foundry. They shock it. We untap. We draw Flooded Strand. So play Flooded Strand. Mill our opponent for 6. We're going to Ephemerate Coiling Oracle in response. We're going to Echoing Truth Coiling Oracle. They're going to Restoration Angel. Okay. Targeting the same Coiling Oracle. So fetch with Flooded Strand. Get an island. Mill our opponent for 6. And we can either Fatal Push this Coiling Oracle, or we can Fatal Push Soul Herder, or we can Fatal Push Restoration Angel. They have 1, 2 Restoration Angels in the grave. I don't know if they play 3 or 4. I imagine it's 4. Let's hit the Resto. It's just one more thing they have to cast, right? Okay. Resto blinks. This means we do have to deal with the Soul Herder, I guess. It'll Windswept Teeth. Echoing Truth Fizzle. Oh, they crack Windswept Teeth. Getting a Forest. Echoing Truth fizzles. Ephemerate fizzles. When it gets milled for 6. Cast a Maddening Cacophony. When it gets milled for 8 more. Pass the turn. There's Eternal Witness. I don't know if they run more than 1. I imagine they do, but I don't know for sure. Opponent only has 13 cards left in their deck, so they're dead to a fetch land. They untap and draw. We know they have 3 cards in their hand. Play Kasali Pride Mage. And a Relic of Progenitus. 4 mana, 5 mana. Oh, they're going to cast Yorion, okay. Okay. They flicker the 2 Coiling Oracles, I guess. They could also choose to flicker nothing. But I imagine they're going to try and increase the clock on Soul Herder. They just flicker everything. They hit us for 7. No blocks, because they're still dead to a fetch land. Oh, they stacked the triggers wrong. They could have flickered everything again, I guess. Opponent draws 2 cards. We draw Polluted Delta, which pretty sure means we get it. Nice. Glad we didn't block. Jeez. Yeah, I'm not sure I want more Echoing Truthers. I think I'm just going to run it back as is. I now understand a little bit how people feel playing Mill against Battle of Wits. Because just like Leyline of I start with 30% more life than usual seems pretty good. Or 33% more life than usual. It's not quite as bad as Battle of Wits, because it's actually winnable, but... Okay, this is an extremely proactive Archive Trap Double Glimpse hand. I guess I'm going to keep this. I do want to draw a Crab. Okay, opponent starts fetch land, which is good news for us. Draw a second Archive Trap, which is nice because our opponent did not crack the fetch land on their own turn, which now means we will get double the value. Opponent cracks Arid Mesa at our end step. Gets a Temple Garden tapped. So we'll mill them for 26. Kind of hoping to just eliminate chord targets / pieces of the combo or singleton lands they'll need to fetch. Anything like that. We're down to 45 cards in the library. I think we play Mesmeric Orb next. even though it's the most likely mill piece we have they can interact with, it's also going to be the most mill over time we can get. Okay, opponent plays Prismatic Vista, passes. We draw Maddening Cacophony. Play Mesmeric Orb. Opponent cracks Prismatic Vista. It's an island. Flashes in an Ice Fang Quaddle. Okay. So they draw a card, then they mill 2. They mill Relic and Windswept Teeth. So a Crab would be our best top deck, I think, other than maybe a Visions of Beyond. Opponent fetches up a Forest. We have almost enough mill to just kill them before they can kill us anyway. They hit us for 1 off of the Ice Fang. They play a Soul Herder. So they flicker Ice Fang, which has them draw another card. Counter on the Soul Herder. We untap. We mill 2. Visions of Beyond, Flooded Stream. We draw Polluted Delta. So play Polluted Delta. Glimpse the Unthinkable, mill our opponent for 10. Pass the turn. Opponent's going to untap, mill for 3. They mill Kiki Jiki, Noble Hierarch, and Restoration Angel. They go to combat. Attack for 3. Play Kasali Pride Mage. They're going to flicker Kasali Pride Mage because they don't want to draw any more cards. Okay. We untap. We mill 2. Draw another Mesmeric Orb. Oh, I've got to use 2 landfall triggers if I want to play Mesmeric Orb as well as a Glimpse, but it's definitely the right thing to do here. Play Mesmeric Orb. I guess I should have played the Flooded Strand to play around a Spell Pierce, but... Crack for a basic Swamp. Play Flooded Strand. Crack for an Island. Glimpse our opponent. They're going to untap, they're going to mill for 5. So they'll be down to 9. Maddening Cacophony will take them to 1. And any mill spell... Oh, no, they got to draw for a turn. So Maddening Cacophony is lethal, provided, of course, it resolves. Opponent hits us for 4. They're going to flicker Ice Fang. I kind of want to draw a land so I don't get mana leaked, but I've not seen any counter spell either time we've milled them low. So short of like, what's the spirit? Spell Queller, I think would be about the only thing they could have. They have to discard for turn. They discard a Ladmarie's Call. We draw a Ruin Crab, so Maddening Cacophony for lethal. Nice! I can't believe we beat Yorion. Let alone, like, Infinite Combo Yorion. I feel like that's a really bad matchup for us, because they should have, like, very interactive creatures. I don't know. Alright, round 4, here we go. We'd love to play first. With a single other land, this hand is amazing. I got a mulligan, though. I can't keep that. Can I keep basically the same hand, but with an archive trap? Oh, this hurts so much. We had so much trouble drawing a land. Alright, greed. Greed mode. Here we go. Island Ruin Crab. Pass. We top deck a fetch land, we are in business. Opponent starts Forest. Elvish Mystic. Okay. This could be elves. This could be budget Ponza, which is what I'm actually scared of. Okay, we draw an island, which is good. Makes me look like I kept a competent hand. Play an island. Mill our opponent for 6. We'll get a good idea of what's going on here. Save targets. Always use it. Is elves. So Crypt Incursion should be good here. This also means my opponent probably has a minimum number of fetch lands. Yep. Opponent plays a Guiltleaf Palace. Dwinnen's Elite. Sure. Another Llanowar Elf type creature. We untap. Draw fetch land. Perfect. So play Flooded Strand. Mill our opponent for 6. Crack Flooded Strand. We're going to get a Watery Grave. Untapped. Mill our opponent for 6. Glimpse the Unthinkable. Mill our opponent for 10. And hopefully this Crypt Incursion will be enough to keep us alive until our opponent dies. No fetch lands. So the only way our opponent is searching their library is if they're activating Clan Caller. Or they have like a Chord of Calling, which we haven't seen yet. Chord isn't unheard of. It's just not likely, especially if my opponent's playing Winding Way. I almost suspect this is like a budget list. Wow. Alright. Yeah, they got a lot of dudes. They can just like play Heritage Druid and then the rest of their hand. Alright, there's Heritage Druid. And another Dwinnen's Elite. Okay. So I imagine what comes next is probably a Llanowar Elf into Shaman of the Pack. to hit us for like half of our life total. Okay, there's Shaman of the Pack. We go to 8. Seeing Storm count really makes me worry. Because it's like, why would it need to be counting Storm? For what possible purpose? We untap, draw a swamp, play a swamp, mill our opponent for 6 more. And I'm just going to go ahead and do this now so they don't have any sort of response. And really, as long as we draw an untapped land, this only needs to be a fog. I mean, presumably we go up to approximately 1 bazillion life. 65 being approximately equal to 1 bazillion. Okay, now we just need to draw land and our opponent's dead. Because we can hard cast an Archive Trap. Okay, opponent plays a Shaman of the Pack, hitting us for 10. Right-click attack all opponent. Yep, there we go. Okay, block a 2/2 and a 1/1. Prevent 3 damage. Go to 45. Opponent hit us for 20 life that turn. That's pretty good. We draw Surgical Extraction, which I guess we could hit like Nurturing Peatland. It's not likely they run more than 1 Pendelhaven. I'm going to stop on their draw step, and I'm going to hit Nurturing Peatland with Surgical. I mean, Collected Company, there's already 3 in the grave. Same with Winding Way. They're holding a Gilt-Leaf Palace. The only ones they have are the 2 that are in their grave. And they have a Zuri Renegade Leader. So we really, really need to draw an untapped land very quickly. Opponent can make a very large board off of a Zuri. They play a Heritage Druid. They play a Zuri. I imagine they activate the Overrun at least once. Yep. That's a lot of damage coming our way. Is it lethal? 6, 12, 16, 21, 25, 29, 34, and 38. Alright, take 38. Land and we win. Glimpse the Unthinkable, we win. Fetch land, we win. Maddening Cacophony is not lethal! No! No, this is unbelievable! This is like one of 3 cards that we don't win with? Fine. Yes, Maddening Cacophony. Opponent's at 1 card in the library. And if they didn't have a Zuri, we wouldn't be dying either. So, Archive Trap out, because our opponent does not search their library, period. They have Winding Way, they have Collected Company, neither of which count. Like, it makes Field of Ruin a lot worse in our deck, but like, I just don't know what we do about that. Because like, Archive Trap is so bad. Can we actually take it out though? Because like, do we need that mill off of Field of Ruin? Ensnaring Bridge is actually terrible because they're just going to have, what's it called? Reclamation Sage. Like the quintessential toolbox elf. But they can't tutor for it because they don't have chords, so maybe it's actually decent enough to run. We'll run Ensnaring Bridge, Profane Memento, Ashiok, I guess? I don't know about no Archive Trap. I don't like it. I feel like Archive Trap's in our best hands, even against a deck like this, just because of Field of Ruin. Alright, we're gonna try it without it. Maybe we just get a super crab heavy hand. This is not it. Triple Fatal Push is good, but like... Alright, I'm gonna have to work with this. Hopefully Crab Orb Cacophony is good enough. We are on the play. It just brought in their sideboard? Are you kidding me? I don't think that's good. I don't think you should ever do that. I don't think playing against Mill necessitates bringing in your entire sideboard. It's going to make your deck so inconsistent unless you have like the appropriate land ratio also sitting in your sideboard, which some decks do. Some decks do run an extra land or 2 out of the sideboard. I don't think Elves does, but I could be wrong. So opponent starts Elvish Mystic, which at this point, if I draw removal for, I will play. I thought I put that back. Okay, mill with Ruin Crab. Fetch. I'm going to preserve my life total, I think, a little bit here, and just get a swamp. Okay. Play Mesmeric Orb. Pass the turn. No attacks, of course. Opponent mills for 1. A Winding Way. Plays a Cavern on Elf. Plays a Shaper's Sanctuary. I mean, we do have removal, that's true. Okay, well. We mill for 2. Milling Ashiok and Watery Grave. We draw Blood Chief's Thirst. Killing Heritage Druid draws them a card, but also takes them off of Heritage Druid, which is easily one of their scariest elves. The other option here is we play Mesmeric Orb. I think we have to draw them a card And we just have to take out Heritage Druid because I imagine whatever else they could play with a Heritage Druid in play is pretty scary. Okay, no attacks. Opponent's going to mill 2. We do need to draw lands. They mill Archdruid and another Scavenging Ooze. Is Scavenging Ooze even good against us? I guess it stops or mitigates Crypt Incursion, potentially. I'm going to place a second Cavern on Elf. No attacks. I guess they could have Coco. We mill an island. We draw Surgical. Play Mesmeric Orb. If my opponent casts Company, I'm going to Surgical Archdruid, I think. I have no idea what's in their hand, or why they're playing the way that they are. There's Company. So yeah, we'll hit Archdruid. Just because I think that's one of their best hits off the top. They're holding a Scavenging Ooze and 2 lands. Okay. Opponent should never whiff on a Collected Company unless they brought in their entire sideboard and just... It's not very good. They play a Clan Caller and get a Mystic. They mill for 8. They're even playing Damping Sphere. Okay, they play a Gilt-Leaf Palace tapped because they don't have a creature in hand. They're going to have to start attacking too, but we have double Mesmeric Orb, which means they're going to be milling a lot. What are the chances they have another Coco and can kill this Ruin Crab? I guess we block the 1/1. They'd have to hit 2 Lords off of a Collected Company. And if they have a Collected Company here, they're going to mill a crap load off of Mesmeric Orb. And another Clan Caller. And a Heritage Druid. Which means I'm really glad I blocked this Clan Caller. And not the other one and lost my crab. So opponent has 40 cards. They're about to mill 14. We mill some. Flooded Strand is pretty good. So, mill our opponent for 3. Crack. I'm going to get a Watery Grave tapped. Mill my opponent for 3. Cast Maddening Cacophony. I go to 26. They untap. They're going to mill 14. And I think as long as we don't die to their swing here, we beat them. Which means we just have to block and try and prevent maximum damage. And between them untapping... They just revealed Shaman of the Pack. We're dead. Unbelievable. They milled all 3 other ones and they just drew that. Yep, Shaman of the Pack takes us down to 7. What an amazing top deck. Good job, opponent. Block here and die. Alright. Round 5. 2-2. Let's hope we can win our entry back. Alright, we will be on the draw for our final match. Obosh the Prey Piercer. I don't think I can keep this against mono red. If I had a second land, this would be like the god hand. But I got a mulligan. Alright, this I can work with. Especially with a Crypt Incursion. I think Obosh decks generally run a disproportionate number of creatures. Because they run like Bone Crusher Giant. Because they can't run any of the 2-mana burn. So they tend to run the more powerful like 1-drop creatures and 3-drop creatures, I think. Which means Crypt Incursion hopefully will do enough here. We're going to keep 6. And I'm going to put back a Flooded Strand, I think. Glimpse the Unthinkable might also be correct, but we'll see. Opponent starts Mountain. Soulscar Mage. Okay. Hopefully they run fetch lands. We draw Visions of Beyond. Play Island Crab. Pass the turn. Okay. Opponent's turn. Play a fetch land. Come on. Opponent attacks for 1. Not going to block. That's a trap. Take 1. Oh, this actually could have been Light Up the Stage. I probably should have blocked if it was Light Up the Stage. Ah, Light Up the Stage. Alright. And they did not hit a fetch land. It might just be straight up mono red mountains only. Oh my god, they don't run fetch lands. Crap. Okay. They run like a couple of the sack lands, so like Field of Ruin doesn't even work against them. Alright. Well, we even have to fetch and shock ourselves too. This is terrible. Yep. Still have to fetch and shock. Because there's no guarantee this crab is going to stay around long enough. So mill our opponent for 3. We hit 1 creature. If this was a polluted delta, we could get a basic swamp. Unfortunately, it is not. Watery Grave. Untapped. Mill our opponent again. Okay, 2 more creatures. That's a total of 3. Glimpse the Unthinkable. 4 creatures in their grave. So we can gain 12 life off of a Crypt Incursion. They have 2 lava darts in the grave, so they can sack all their lands if they want. If they don't kill Hedron Crab, we can turn on Visions of Beyond next turn. A 3rd Swift Spear. Firebolt for the crab. Okay, opponent has 18 cards in graveyard now. Is there any way that they, like, don't just dart? Does that kill us? Each dart is 4 damage and they're representing 6. We'd go to 2? And if they have any other spell they can cast, we die because we milled a bunch of lava darts into the grave. Yup. Unbelievable. Maybe they don't see it. Maybe they don't see the line. Nope, they see it. That's lethal right there. They don't even have to sack another land. We died on turn 3. Alright. Versus Burn, I want Profane Memento. Archive Trap does nothing. Literal nothing. Which means I want Ashiok. I guess Bridge. Bridge isn't great. Extirpate. Extirpate's not much better, though. Oh, no. Alright, well, we'd like to play first. Okay. That hand's not going to work. This one might. I'm going to put back a Field of Ruin. It's our worst land in our hand right now. Start Island, Ruin Crab. Opponent kept a hand of 7. They start Bolt, it's pretty bad for us, but it also means that they don't have a really good proactive start. Generally, they want to start like Soulscar Mage, kind of a deal. Yeah, they start Soulscar Mage. We draw an island, play Polluted Delta. Mill our opponent for 3. All lands. Fetch Polluted Delta, get a basic swamp. Mill our opponent for 3. We mill a Bone Crusher Giant, and 2 more lands. It's kind of unlikely that they hit any more lands. They generally run only about 18. No attacks, of course. But it untaps, mills 1. It's a light up the stage. Okay, they have a second land, which is about all they need. No blocks. If they want that Ruin Crab dead, they have to shoot it directly. Okay, they play a Swift Spear. We untap. We mill 2. Milling a Swamp, a Flooded Strand. Draw Visions of Beyond, so mill our opponent. It's 2 creatures in their grave. Fetch up an island. Mill our opponent. They only have 2 creatures in their grave. Alright, pass the turn. Opponent's gonna mill 3 on their upkeep. They mill Mountain, Blast Zone, light up the stage. I think we've milled just about all of their land. We've milled 10 of their lands. They have at most 6 left in their deck or hand, which is kind of terrible because we'd really, really like to be milling creatures right now. They hit land and Soulscar Mage, which means we can block this turn. So we take 4 and go to 13. I don't know if we Crypt Incursion here. No, we can't, because we need this to be an Ancestral Recall, so... We draw an Obero, play an island, mill our opponent. 20 cards in their grave. Hopefully they don't flashback Lava Dart just to prevent this from being... Alright, well then. We could play Ensnaring Bridge. We could also Surgical Lava Dart, I guess. Most of their spells are instant, so I don't think Ensnaring Bridge helps that much here. I can't believe we've milled this many cards and only hit 2 creatures. Glimpse doesn't seem correct. Glimpse seems like the wrong play. We have too many cards in our hand for Bridge. Yeah, I think we just Crypt Incursion, gain 6. Well, we can wait until they mill with Mesmeric Orb, because they're going to mill 6 more cards. That was almost a big mistake. No attacks, pass the turn. Okay, opponent milled 2 more creatures, which means we can gain up to 6 more life from this Crypt Incursion. Opponent casts a Soulscar Mage, sure. Goes to combat. Attacks with everybody. If we block, they Lava Dart it and kill it. I'm actually just going to take the damage here. So I think my opponent, unless my opponent has like Flames of the Blood hand. Yeah, okay. We're going to let them discard because they could discard more creatures. They discard 2 lands. Okay, well, on their end step, go ahead and Crypt Incursion. If we could guarantee we were drawing another black source, we might, could make a case for waiting until we mill them by playing another land. So we only exiled 4 creatures with that Crypt Incursion. That was a very pitiful Crypt Incursion. We mill 4 cards. We draw Field of Ruin. So, play Field. Mill our opponent for 3. We could try to surgically extract Lava Dart. So, Surgical Lava Dart. Pay 2 life. Okay, they were F6. They're only holding a relic. Okay. Then we'll Glimpse the Unthinkable, and that shall kill them. I'm not even going to show them Ensnaring Bridge. They just died a Mesmeric Orb on their upkeep. Alright. That worked, but only just. I guess Extirpate could potentially have a place over a Surgical, just because they do have Lava Dart. I'm going to actually play that other Surgical over a Maddening Cacophony. So basically, I'm just playing an Extirpate over a Maddening Cacophony. Alright, well this hand's not playable. Okay, I will keep this. Going to put back Drown in the Loch, I think. So the way that this hand is set up is kind of important. We're going to start Profane Memento, and then we're going to play Hedron Crab fetch land second turn. My opponent did keep 7. Alright, they start Mountain. Draw another island, play an island. Play Profane Memento. Pass the turn. Okay, second Mountain for our opponent. I imagine they have an answer for the crab, but it's still the plan. Play Polluted Delta. Mill our opponent. Okay, well we're going to wait until they cast a Bolt on the crab or they tap out for something to use the other half of this fetch land, because we don't have anything else we can play. Okay, they Lightning Bolt the crab. So, Watery Grave tapped. Hey, Profane Memento! Paying dividends already. Okay, third land for our opponent. Seasoned Pyromancer. Opponent discards Mountain Lava Dart. We untap. We draw Drown in the Loch. Play a Swamp. Play Mesmeric Orb. Drown in the Loch, probably going to be useful just to protect some of our other stuff. Or potentially us. So opponent mills Flame Slash, Blast Zone, and Bone Crusher Giant. First off, I really like this card, both because the art is a skull and it's awesome, and because it's powerful. Opponent plays a Soulscar Mage and attacks us for 3. We take 3. They play another Mountain. Now, Drown in the Loch actually gains us a life, too. We untap, we mill Glimpse, we draw Flooded Strand, play an island, pass the turn. But an untaps mills a Firebolt, Mountain, and Blast Zone. Okay, they go to combat. They attack for 4. I'm going to kill Seasoned Pyromancer. We gain a life, go up to 20. Opponent hits us for 2. Down to 18. They play another Soulscar Mage. They probably put Obosh in their hand. Yep. Alright, we untap, we mill a crab. Draw Field of Ruin, which doesn't do anything. Play Field of Ruin, pass the turn. Opponent's going to untap and mill 6, which hopefully will gain us some life. Gained 1. Alright. Opponent Firebolts our face. Another Seasoned Pyromancer. They discard Flame Slash and Seasoned Pyromancer. Doesn't that gain us a life? I feel like that was supposed to gain us a life. Alright, we untap. I mean, if we only are going to draw lands, then yes, we are going to lose. And my opponent's going to play Obosh and kill us. Yep, play an island. Pass the turn. It's So unless we mill like mono creatures to stay alive. Yeah, that's not what happened. So we milled a bunch of lava darts. My opponent can just play Obosh and then like dart us twice and swing and we're dead. Which is really disappointing because of how close we were to milling them out. And if we had drawn like, I don't know, 2 Glimpse the Unthinkables instead of 5 extra lands we'd have gotten there. If we had gotten like a Ruin Crab or a Hedron Crab instead of milling it. Yep, there's Obosh. And we died of lava darts. Yeah, well, we definitely got cheated out of this match. We get back 50 play points. Alright, I guess I'll talk about the deck for a second. It's interesting to see. I think this deck is technically stronger with Drown in the Loch. I hate playing Drown in the Loch in a deck like this because I like playing Mill like it's Burn. I like proactively, quote-unquote, doing the damage rather than having a reactive answer to my opponent doing stuff. But I feel like Drown in the Loch is versatile enough that it probably warrants mainboard inclusion. I feel like we just ran really poorly in this league. We ran up against 2 different decks that played no fetch lands, which made Archive Trap really terrible. And consequently like Field of Ruin as well. We had one game where we just drew like 7 crabs and 2 lands, and we couldn't even play out all the crabs fast enough. That hand would have been amazing with just like another fetch land. Oh my god. I was kind of missing Inquisitions this time around. Like being able to Inquisition and then Surgical feels really powerful and can help get rid of redundant stuff, but like there's not room in the deck list for that. And this version of the deck list runs a bunch of Fatal Pushes, and even Bloodchief's Thirst is Fatal Push number 5 as a way to deal with aggro. But in like 2 of our aggro matches, we just didn't draw the Fatal Pushes, and we didn't draw anything that last game, like at all. We just drew lands, which is part of Magic. It's going to happen. It's just really disappointing because we probably should have won that match. Strangely enough, we did beat Yorion. We just like this deck has the mill power to do it. We just didn't draw what we needed to draw. I think this list is fine if you wanted to play mill in Modern. I think this is an okay list to start with. It is a recent 5-0 list, so it can 5-0 in the current metagame. But I don't know that I have any real adjustments for it. I think 4 Echoing Truth out of the sideboard might be a little bit hefty. I might drop like an Echoing Truth, maybe to play a second Ashiok, or maybe to play like a 3rd Ensnaring Bridge, or even like a second Profane Memento, maybe. But that's just personal preference. That's not saying like that's correct or anything. Ravenous Traps, I think, are reasonable. And I actually think 4 of them included, and then having a Nihil Spellbomb is fine. This version of Mill has to be set up in a way to beat people running Eldrazi out of the side, which is why those cards are there. So if your opponent is, sides in an Emrakul and is like, aha, what are you going to do now? I've got double the life total. You Ravenous Trap them. You eat the Emrakul, they shuffle 0 cards back in, and then it's not a big deal. That's also why Ashiok is there, because if you mill over an Eldrazi when you activate Ashiok, you exile the Eldrazi before the trigger gets put on the stack. But yeah, no, I don't really have any other adjustments that I would make to this list. This list, looking at it, feels kind of awkward to me, but I'm not sure how to fix it or shore it up. I know that we got unlucky, but I'm not going to blame us getting unlucky on the deck list. I think the deck list is fine. All right, that's enough rambling. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed this list and you want to see more of it, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined. I stream Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Twitch. You can follow me on there if you want to see me live. I would love to have you guys. We've had lots of people coming over from YouTube saying hi during my stream times. It's been great. You guys are very, very, very fun chat to talk to. So, yeah, I think you're all wonderful human beings, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!